Good evening and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Reality. Foley is separated. Breaking, news right now in the world of wrestling is that longtime family man Mick Foley has recently come forward and made it public that I guess he and his longtime wife are having a separation now. Now, I know there's a lot of fans out there that have questions, and not a lot has really been put forward, so I decided, to come forward myself and give some speculation on why this could have taken place. Now, I want to remind everybody that this is just speculation. There has been no charges or allegations or any official court filings in relation to Mick's separation, and this is purely speculation. So let's get into it. Now, I figure we would start by taking a look at Foley's recent endeavor being featured on that Foley is Pod program alongside major industry journalism podcasting giant Conrad Thompson. Now, a lot really came out, during this run that Mick did on the podcast. I felt, at times the program was incredibly troubling. We had instances of Mick being a lot more open, about his biological nature. They were talking a lot about that male enhancement blue chew, and truly it was troubling. There were times during the Foley is Pod program where Mick would be describing certain situations or certain acts, and I had to pull over to the side of the road because essentially, I was incredibly troubled by certain things that were being discussed, such as, Mick discovering himself in that biological manner. There was also a story about an expired condom that left me incredibly troubled. But what really troubled me the most was how light that Foley and Thompson were taking this male biological enhancement. They were laughing and joking and making all these vile metaphors, surrounding the medication, that its true nature wasn't being taken very seriously. Now, I wonder, now that Foley is with Conrad in a business relationship, if the blue chew is sort of being passed around and maybe Mick was having issues with his wife where he was sampling this new modern male enhancement and, kind of rolling over to his wife. And maybe she was saying, Mick, I'm tired tonight, which led to, Mick breaking into a rant or, stomping across the bedroom. We don't know. And that's only speculation, but I feel that his recent coming out on the Foley is Pod podcast about multiple different things could have, potentially done damage to the relationship here. Another reason, that things could have fallen apart at this stage is, Mick's strong political stances. Mick has come out multiple times, about very controversial political matters. He spoke openly about that major modern medical crisis that we suffered, and he was strongly recommending fans to make that major medical decision regarding that major medical crisis that we went through. He also was denouncing, at that time, U.S. presidents. And I think people are tired of it. You look at the comments under a lot of Mick's statements, and people are saying, be quiet, Mick. If you don't like the United States, just leave. And he was also denouncing certain groups and segments of people that he did not want to be fans of him. And I found that incredibly troubling. So as it's been over the past 10 years or so, Mick has become increasingly political. And I also believe that this could be a reason why maybe him and his wife didn't share the same values when it comes to the political spectrum. I also want to touch on Mick's public image. For a very long time, going on 20 years, Mick has really always portrayed himself as this stumbling, bumbling, blue-collar, golly gee, oh shucks, heart and mind of a child, blue-collar everyman. And he's also portrayed himself as a very strong family man as well. And there's been stories coming out within the past handful of years that may not exactly be true. And remember, this is only speculation here, but you've heard the stories about Mick, stomping up and down the backstage area during that TNA run and demanding that he be in front of the Hardcore Justice poster. There's also a lot of comments by fans that whenever they meet Foley, it is not the experience that they thought it would be. At times, Mick is refusing to have pictures taken with the fans. He's sort of pushing people along. He doesn't want the fans bringing up certain parts of his history. And I found that incredibly troubling when I read that from fans who came out and spoke about it. So, in relation to Mick, I mean, he can portray that character, all he wants in the public eye, but who really knows what he is like behind closed doors? And I think that with this recent separation, that is really going to bring a lot into question. Why is this man who's been spouting and speaking about family values and equality and interacting with fans with challenges and all kinds of positive good doings. Why is he dealing with the separation now? So we don't know, and again, this is only speculation, what he is really like behind closed doors. I think a lot of fans remember the wife swap episode that Foley did, where it was shown that, Foley at times wasn't contributing to the household. He was, sitting in a chair, waiting to be changed or waiting to have his clothes help be put on, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if he does truly suffer from health situations, but I think it may have taken its toll on Mick's wife. And maybe things just got to a point where they were too much to deal with as Foley is reaching those later years now. Another issue that Foley hasn't really come out publicly and spoken about is the daughter. Walking across the street from the world of entertainment, having that reality show, wanting to possibly work in WWE at some point, she made the decision to cross the street to the OnlyFans. And Mick, hasn't really spoken about it. Again, wanting to be that positive, fun-loving, clean as a whistle guy. I think that really did a lot to hurt his reputation. Now, the daughter is an adult, able to make her own decisions, of course. But I always figured there was something fishy there. I mean, Mick isn't part of a major promotion anymore, but I'm sure for what he gave us during his time in the industry that he is not well compensated. I'm sure that he is. And it just leaves the question of why. Couldn't he fork over some money to help the daughter with whatever she needed help with at that time, which I believe was medical costs, and keep her off the OnlyFans? There could be the potential that him and the wife had issues with this. Foley, along with having the daughter, the hard-bodied daughter, Noelle Foley, He also has other sons, one who I believe is working and somewhat independent, but he also does care for, as Foley puts it, two boys who are on the spectrum. And that can come with many of its own challenges. And, they must be getting more into adulthood now. And maybe there's the possibility that this was all just taking its toll on the marriage. And maybe there's the possibility that, Mick wasn't contributing and a lot of it fell onto the wife. It's only speculation. But just the little bits and pieces that we've seen when it comes to behind the scenes of the Foley family, this is sort of the conclusion that I'm coming up with that could be a possibility that contributed to this recent separation. Now, fans, keep in mind that nothing has come out publicly and this is only speculation. And I've talked a lot about Mick. I've been one of the only channels to really come out publicly and talk about the other side that could possibly exist when it comes to Mick Foley. And, I'm openly coming forward about being the only channel that does so. So just keep in mind, nothing is concrete at this point. We don't really know a lot of the details and we can only speculate. But after following Mick's behavior for the last handful of years, I would not be surprised, when the story does come forward, that we learn the reason for the separation, that it may be very close to some of what we speculated here on the channel, on the Pro Wrestling Reality. So fans, let us know in the comments your thoughts and what could be the reason for the separation. Mick has given us so much during his career, and at one time, he was a very influential, groundbreaking performer. But in recent years, Foley has become political, cutthroat, very business savvy. But now, sadly at this stage of his life, Foley is separated.
Thank you very much.